Sonny drives around in a beat-up van. Sonny enters any race he can. Sonny is on an adrenaline hunt. 'Cause Sonny Hayes is a crazy beep as the race goes by, and we're hypnotized from these drivers on a wire. 200 mph and the weather elements factoring in to the finish line. F1 the movie was written and directed by Joseph Kosinski, who did Only the Brave, Oblivion, Spiderhead. Oh boy, that movie. That was a mess. He also did Top Gun Maverick, one of the best theatrical experiences that I've had since the pandemic basically ended. Actually, to be perfectly honest, one of the best theatrical experiences I've had in the last 10 or so years. Exhilarating, thrilling, puts you right in the goddamn cockpit. That movie absolutely need to be seen in theaters. As somebody that holds no absolute love for the original Top Gun. Now, that being said, in the vein of Top Gun Maverick, this takes well-worn tropes, shall we say, as far as a sports underdog story, where we have Brad Pitt, who plays Sonny, who was seen as the next upcoming racer, the hot young thing and everything, and then something knocked him out of the sport. And he's been trying to chase that glory ever since. We find out why a little bit later on, but he is propositioned after winning the Daytona 500, basically, with Ruben, an old friend of his, and old rival friend, whatever you want to label him as, played by Javier Bardem, No Country for Old Men, a terrific goddamn actor. Lisa Ann Al-Gaib, I think is how you said it, in Dune. I don't know. Great cast, but yeah, Dune looked good. That's about it. And that being said, Ruben has a team, and a team that basically needs to win. They need to win by the end of the season, because let's just say investors are tired of losing money. They need to do well. They have a great team, but they just need somebody to steer them in the right direction. Ironic for a racing team. And there is a young upstart driver who's very, very cocky and very good, but needs to learn patience. And he's young and everything, and kind of reminds Sonny of what he used to be. Half the man he used to be. Joshua, by the way, is played by Damson Idris, not Idris Elba, because they're entirely different names. So, basically, it is a typical underdog story with absolutely breathtaking racing sequences. This is exactly what Gran Turismo should have fucking been. Gran Turismo, granted, was based on, a goddamn video game series and had okay racing sequences, I will say that much, but the movie also was hampered by the fact that Neil Blomkamp has no idea how to direct an actual movie. I will fight you with that. But as far as this, it has such breathtakingly beautiful, captivating, absorbing, just you get wrapped up in these racing sequences. It is one of the best sports movies that I have seen in many fucking years. This is absolutely phenomenal. When you are locked in the driver's seat and you are just looking at the first person perspective, you're just looking basically, or you're just looking above, whatever it is. You are locked in. Joseph Kosinski's direction, the cinematography, the music choices, everything about that fucking works. So even with the fact that it is a cliched story and follows some of the same beats, and a lot of this story really, quite frankly, could have been written by AI, which I'm going to blame on writer Aaron Kruger, because while he did do The Ring, he also did Arlington Road. He also did Scream 3. He also did The Ring 2. He also did The Skeleton Key. I will never forget anybody who was involved in The Skeleton Key. That includes Kate fucking Hudson. And we get Transformers 2 and 4. He's done a lot of stuff. That's just the stuff I wanted to write down. But we can't just have the racer that is trying to maybe recapture his old glory or do this for the love of the team, the love of the money, whatever it is, or for an old friend, whatever his motivation is. We can't have that in the upstart. We can't have them clashing heads. We need some other people, such as Tobias Menzies, who was in You Hurt My Feelings. He is the man funding this whole thing. And thankfully, boy howdy, we have Kate played by the incredibly gifted, incredibly absorbingly gorgeous Carrie Condon. My goodness, what a captivating beauty she is. What a talented actress she is. From the Banshees of Inisherin. She was also in Night Swim. God bless her. I hope she got a good payday out of that, but that movie's not good. And we do also have Kaylee Cook, who plays one of the Pitt crew members. I do have to shout her, by the way. She plays the character Jody. She's pretty goddamn good. And the race sequences, by the way, are really, really well done, which is fitting because this movie had a $250 to $300 million budget, reportedly. Warner Bros. And Apple TV pairing up with Plan B. This movie didn't need a Plan B because we didn't need to get anything shorted out of that. I don't know why I'm going on about this. This movie is so goddamn great when you are locked on the racetrack. And for the most part, even though I did knock the writing of Aaron Kruger, because I will continue to do so, because there's just something about his line of movies that I just don't necessarily care for, his line of work, or his body of work, whatever phrase you want to go with. There are some funny quips and a lot of breeziness to this. Now, this is a beefy 155-minute long movie. So it is pretty goddamn long. It's about as long as Top Gun Maverick. I think Top Gun Maverick maybe was a little bit shorter than that. I haven't seen it for a bit. Haven't actually seen it since it was available on Paramount Plus and was able to see that. But the theatrical experience is something I will never forget. The theme of this whole thing is just let Sonny do his thing. And when Sonny does his thing, Sonny also has to kind of learn. It kind of reminds me of Mr. Natural, like, let the kid do his thing and everything, and maybe when you think they're gonna go right, you need to go left, or something like that. It is a breathtakingly beautiful movie to look at. That is not just because of Carrie Condon. Yes, I will profess my love for Carrie Condon one day. Shut up. But Brad Pitt's great in this. And Damson Idris is really, really good as well. Javier Bardem is great. When Javier Bardem and Carrie Condon, however, are on screen, boy, they could have used subtitles because, man, when they get excited, their accents go way up. But this movie also gets 2 fucking thumbs up. Absolutely great. This movie is fucking phenomenal to watch, even with the cliches. No non-original story. None of that stuff. And warts and all, this movie really just carries itself. It's beautiful to look at. I don't know if it's going to end up making back its $250 to $300 million budget, but this is definitely one of the better Apple TV offerings, which is funny because I just reviewed Echo Valley, one of the laziest ones that they did just a bit ago, and mentioned Fly Me to the Moon, which really was the last Apple TV type movie that I ended up even enjoying. And this is really absorbing. It is absolutely something fantastic to watch in theaters. So give it a chance. I watch it in RPX, Regal RPX. If you can see it in IMAX, see it in IMAX. It's just so goddamn fun to watch. Anyway, 3, 2, 1, and spoilers. So, the thing that knocked Sonny out of the whole deal was an accident at the Spanish Grand Prix. Well, it's actually Grand Prix, spelled Prix. That was in 1993. He suffered a back injury, but has been chasing that glory ever since. He got into the Daytona 500. Was part of a team, helped win that. Got a check only for like $5,000. So it's like, really? Is racing not paying that well? And he decides to take off and do something else. Ruben gets him this offer to basically, come help my team, basically. I will say that the chemistry between Brad Pitt and Damson Idris is really, really good. Carrie Condon is just phenomenal. Just being able to, play to her strengths. The Banshees of Inisherin is still a fantastic fucking role for her and might be the peak for her for a while. But this is exactly how you balance, like big blockbuster and still allowing actors to be actors. And there's a lot of great close-up shots. Actually, some of the editing and some of the camera work kind of reminded me of Any Given Sunday as far as the crowd shots and shots of the crew. But the racing sequences, once again, I mean, we go to all kinds of countries. We go to like, Abu Dhabi is actually the last one, but we do Mexico City. We do Italy. We do, we do the location Olympics, but it doesn't matter when a movie just pops so well. Now, this could have had 15, 20 minutes cut off of it, and we probably wouldn't have missed anything. There's obviously a romance that builds between Sonny and Kate. It's at least earned, I will say that much, more or less. But obviously, you have Tobias Menzies' character that he really wants the team to do well, but he's also got his own nefarious means going on that get revealed a little bit later on. Brad Pitt, well, racing Formula One, he had raced Formula One before, or Sonny had. Maybe Brad Pitt did also in his life, I don't know. But Sonny realizes they need to kind of change the body, modify things and everything because the drag, the wind, that kind of stuff. And Kate being the technical advisor or technical director, basically, and understanding these things, mixes this stuff around. There's some great interactions with Sonny and Kate's characters, especially an Irish pub, I believe as they say. I'm sorry to any of my Irish friends. But there's an earnest, just pure quality about this where, yes, it has some manufactured emotion, but a lot of it is earned. And it's so exhilarating you can ignore the various flaws that occur in this. So, Sonny never told Ruben about his back injury and stuff like that. And we even see at one point a scar on his back. It's like a rod in his back. Will I ever lift a piano again? Oh my goodness, no. Anyway, him and Joshua getting, some issues and stuff like that. Also, I do have to shout Sarah Niles as Bernadette, the mother. She was great in this. She is as Joshua's mother. She was fucking great in this. And it's not like Sonny is exactly, he puts on this brave bravado, but it's not actually like he's a perfect guy. He has gambling debts. He's had failed marriages, relationships, and stuff like that. And this might be his last chance to turn it around and win a Formula One, championship like he wanted to. So essentially, what basically this comes down to is Joshua has to learn some patience, and also Sonny has to learn when to back off, let the kid do his thing, teach the kid, but also, sometimes you got to sacrifice yourself. He does this one safety car thing at one point where it might be intentionally done, it might not be intentionally done. It's plan C, that kind of stuff. They're trying to move up the ranks just gradually. And if they could just get some laps that they win, some points, move up in the top 10 rankings, do this, then they actually might be able to save the team. Now, Tobias Menzies' character is trying to sell the team off. And he ends up at one point manufacturing some documents that end up with the team, or that basically make the team in violation just as they go into the last race, which is convenient because Joshua had just recently come back just a couple races before that because there was this scary moment about halfway through, kind of reminded me of Gran Turismo the way they did it, where there was this bad wreck, and Joshua ends up suffering some burns on his hands. There is a character named Luca, or Lucas, I think it's Luca, not Luca Blight. There are no people getting killed with swords, as hilarious as that would have been. Joshua's out for a little bit, and Sonny, by the way, ends up taking the blame for it, but Joshua ends up telling his mother, no, this is my fault. Also, there's a gentleman that plays Joshua's agent, shall we say, who I believe is a friend of his, family, associate. I didn't write that actor's name down, but he's actually pretty good as well. And Kaylee Cook does a good job as Jody. She's the pretty blonde in the Pitt crew. Hey, it's a Brad Pitt crew. Don't know why it took me so long to make that joke. But Joshua suffers that. So all this stuff's moving around. The racing sequences, once again, it's so good. Now, again, there are parts they could have trimmed. They could have done a few things to really move this along. Like, I could be moving this whole thing along. I'm just so excited. Just can't hide it. I'm about to lose control, and oh no, the car is off the course. Now, once Joshua comes back, they're still having some issues and everything because they're not like oil and water. They're two halves of the same coin because Brad was a cocky upstart, and Joshua is a lot like him and everything. And he has to realize also that social media engagement isn't all it's cracked up to be. That, yes, that is something you can look for. It's a different age, but you gotta be able to be behind the wheel and be safe behind the wheel. And that whole thing with Tobias Menzies' character, he offers Brad Pitt a chance. Once he sells the team, he's going to clean everybody out. Ruben might get, an administrative position, but it'll be like Ted Turner during the AOL Time Warner merger. Any wrestling fans know that that's not a good thing unless you want to be in charge. And he ends up basically, essentially, saying to Brad Pitt, oh, you got in your accident, because he did. And Ruben saw his old, medical files and said, you're off the team. And, so Sonny really doesn't have any loyalty to Ruben. To be fair, he did lie about his stuff, and Ruben he's driven, but he's also kind of a dick. I mean, there are enough flaws in these characters. And then, basically, Tobias's character offers him this chance. And pretty much all he's got to do is not win the race. That's pretty much it. Just throw the race. So we get to Abu Dhabi, and Joshua and Sonny are just clicking. Even though there are some moments where the tires are having issues and that kind of stuff. The violations, by the way, suddenly get waived because it becomes obvious that somebody manufactured and doctored those, things, those documents and whatever, and those readouts. So basically, it comes down to the last few laps, and then we get a really scary moment where we get a red flag and stuff like that. We get a scary moment where Joshua is having issues with his car. Sonny's having issues with his car. And they just managed to get a reprieve, basically, where Joshua actually is running and doing well. And then they end up in a red flag. And they end up basically getting new tires, this kind of stuff, for the last 3 laps. And then, unfortunately, as Joshua's trying to really do it, he doesn't have a repeat of the crash. He ends up crashing, and Sonny basically takes the thing. And this is some exhilarating shit. I'm getting goosebumps again, just fucking reliving it in my head. He wins the race. Fireworks, all that stuff. He celebrates. He didn't want to touch the trophy like he didn't want to touch a Daytona 500 trophy, but he hands it to Ruben, and he hands it to, and basically, Kerry Condon gets complimented for doing great work. And the idea is he going to go back to living a nomad style? Or does he have a future possibly with Kate? Why would you leave Kerry Condon? If you have a chance with her, why would you leave her? There's just a brief moment where she's on a balcony in just a long shirt. I'm like, oh, the dream. The dream. Anyway, he says, how about, can I see you down the road? Not, I'll see you down the road. Can I see you down the road? Asking permission. Permission, consent is what we are all about. And he does that, and then he basically ends up telling Joshua it's his team. There we are. And he goes to race, not dune buggy-like stuff, but basically on this desert, and gets in his van, drives there. Well, it's not about the money. What is it about? Thrill of the race, that kind of thing. The thrill of the race was all around us. And there you are. I kind of jumbled the plot back and forth. I apologize for that, but it really was exhilarating and really a whole lot of fun. The racing sequences are fucking phenomenal. So it gets an A+. Even with the issues and the lengthy run time and some of the dialogue not really hitting all that well, so much of it hits that you can ignore the shit that misses. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter, Letterboxd, Blue Sky handles in the description. I'm John Ritland, and until we meet again, happy trails to you.